something. Now I would like to look briefly at your textbook. This is page 22. And there are a few concepts I would really like you to keep in mind as we go through the course. We're going to look a lot at population demographics. Important is natural population increase, but most important, I have found through my years of study, is total fertility rate. And this number right here, 2.1. The number of children on average every woman must have in a particular country in order to maintain the population at the current level. These figures are listed on charts. This is an example chart in chapter 1 where they've pulled from nations all over the world to give a comparison, especially on things like total fertility rate. You can see the US is below that 2.1. However, we still have slight growth in the population due to immigration, and that's something that has to be taken into consideration. You can have low total fertility rate and still have an increasing population if you have a lot of people moving into the region. Also important, well, let me show you here. Notice Nigeria. 6 children per woman on average. That's a rapidly growing population, and in fact their population pyramid looks like this. It's a nice pyramid, and when you see these nice pyramids, it means the population is increasing rapidly. Down below, the lower part of the pyramid, is the younger age groups, and they are larger in number than the older age groups. The US is only experiencing very slow growth, whereas a nation like Germany actually has a decreasing population in the younger generations. Very important to visually see what's going on, although further research is needed to know exactly what's going on in any particular country. Finally, there is this interesting graphic on page 25 that I will at some point begin discussing in the course. Economics. I'm a big history of ideas kind of scholar. I like to study philosophy, that kind of thing. That's why I'm associate professor of humanities. And it was quite a while before I realized just how important in understanding history economics is, and understanding economic history. And so I will introduce some information on economic history because it turns out one of the most important points in history is the Industrial Revolution. With the Industrial Revolution, you actually have a dramatic increase in life expectancy throughout much of the world, eventually a lowering of the birth rate, and the standard of living goes up. This graphic here will introduce you to seeing this visually go on, and this is just something that generally happens various places around the world, or has already happened. So those are a few things I wanted to cover with you and emphasize as we go through the material. I just want to add, now that I'm thinking about it, in fact, I mentioned the Industrial Revolution. When you're studying certain nations, pay attention to just how much their GDP, their gross domestic product, and therefore the strength of their economy, is based on agriculture. If agriculture dominates, then it's likely that many people in the country live in poverty. So something to keep in mind as we begin this journey through world geography. Please let me know if you have any questions.